Two-sided cuts can seem really intimidating, but really, all you're doing is cutting one side with standard operations, flipping it, and then cutting the other side. The magic is how you go about flipping it and how you make sure that it's positioned perfectly. In this video, we're going to go over all of that. We'll be focusing on a pawn, and this will keep it fairly straightforward without getting into all the minutiae of making a whole set or multiple pieces like this. Here's the king. I think it came out pretty good. Maybe. If you're confused at all during this video, make sure you post your questions down below. I will be happy to answer any questions. If you have them, somebody else does too. I'm going to go over this process 3 different ways. First, just a visual explanation with something that I already cut out. Then we're going to head over to CAM. I'm going to show you how I programmed it. And finally, I'm going to show you what it's actually like to cut it on the CNC and flip over the board so you're registered perfectly. So this is the pawn that I cut out from this. It's connected by a little dowel that was machined into it. We did a roughing pass, a finishing pass, and we made these 4 registration holes. Where are they? You can see that they're offset just a little bit. That way, it's impossible to flip it 2 ways. You can only flip it this way. So the first step, when you put your board down, will be to find your origin. And you're going to find your origin at the top of this. You're going to do your roughing pass, your finishing pass, and your dowel hole. Then you'll take this piece off, you'll lower your bit, and you'll zero your bit onto the spoil board. And that will be your new Z for the rest of the programming, or for the rest of this whole system. So you zero to the spoil board, you cut your registration holes, which should be perfectly symmetrical. Then you'll place in your dowels, you'll flip your board, and the next time we do this, your 0 is already set and your X and Y are already set because we flip symmetrically. But we don't want to 0 to the top because all of our programming was done based off of this face, and we want to keep this face as a reference. When we started, this face was up. Now this face is down, which is the same spot where the spoil board is. So we can bring our bit up over top, and we can do the same thing. We can cut out our roughing pass, our finishing pass, and then just cut them out, and we should have a nicely finished chess set. Now I'm making these in batches, and quite frankly, I ruined quite a few pieces because my CNC lost steps, which was kind of a bummer. But so now that we have the concept pretty much down, let's head into Fusion.
This is the chess piece we will be starting to work with, which is part of a full set, including a rook and a queen without some embezzlements. But let's hide that and just focus on the pawn for now. We're going to be working in the manufacturing tab since we're working with CNCs, and I already made a manufacturing model, but to do that, it's easy. You go to setup and create manufacturing model. We're going to right click, edit, and now we're going to build our stock. When you're working with 2-sided cuts, I always like to make my own stock. That way I can position registration holes, like in this pendant, as well as this lawnmower bracket. Now, as I already said, these 2-sided cuts are really just 2 independent one-sided operations. And we're just so happen to working with a 3D model. So just like these other 2, I'm going to make stock around it. So there we have it. This is going to be our stock block, or what we're going to be cutting into, as well as an empty space where our model sits. So I can extrude this out, and I'm going to extrude it symmetrical, full distance, and I know my piece of wood is 2 inches thick. Enter. Great. So now we have a block, and in theory, it's perfect in size. So right now this pawn is just kind of floating in space, and the first side, when we cut through halfway, we'll have the other half holding it together. But when we flip it around, once we cut through, it's going to fall and then it's going to break. So for this model, we're going to add a connective dowel from the bottom here to this piece. But if you're doing a different piece, like say this pendant, you don't need to connect them inside the manufacturing model. You can connect them while doing a contour cut. So all you're doing here is edit, is including tabs, and it'll connect them. Press OK. But for this one, we have to do something manual. So I'm going to create a sketch on this bottom plane, and I'm going to make a 1/2 inch dowel, basically 5, and I'm going to extrude it. Now this part's very important. You want to make sure you're extruding as a new body. As soon as you make it to this part and Fusion sees that you're connecting it to something, it wants to join. You want to make sure this says new body, and you'll see why later. It makes it so you can select each part individually. All right. Yeah, this is great. So we have our part connected to our block. We have a couple new bodies. And now we need to make sure that we can get a perfect reference while we flip it. Especially on a 3D cut, it's going to be very obvious if we're even a little bit misaligned. So to do that, we're going to add registration holes or dowel holes, whatever you want to call them. Create a sketch on here. For your registration holes, you need at least 2 holes because 1, you're basically just making a pivot and it can rotate along it. 2 locks it in place. For this video, I'm actually going to be doing 4 though. And 4 makes it very easy to visualize since we can make them symmetric. So I'm going to make a vertical line, a vertical construction line. I'm going to draw a hole here and here. I'm going to turn the not construction line. I am going to make them equal and I'm going to make them 0.51. And I find that's just a good size for the dowel holes to slip in without wiggling. So pro tip, I'm actually going to offset these a little bit. If they're perfectly aligned top to bottom, you can actually screw up when you're flipping. You can flip it in both the X and the Y. To make sure you're just flipping it in the Y, we can offset. And now I can mirror them, line, and I'll cut them through. Great. So now we have the pawn fully encapsulated in this part, connected, and with registration holes. So when we're ready to flip it, we can only align the registration holes one way. So we're gonna hit this, we'll press finish edit, and we'll start the programming. Now, I've done a lot of these already, and you can see that each different setup actually has 3 parts to it. It has a spoil board, a top part, and a bottom part. And that's because our coordinates or our cuts are changing for each one. The first one we will do is the top. So I'm going to create a setup, and I'm going to select my model. I'm going to select this piece. Great. And I'm going to change my coordinate system. I want it to cut from this top part. I want this to be the X and this the Y. Boom, Y. And I want to cut it from the top. We choose the top because when we make our programs, now everything's going to be referenced from the top. When we flip this over, we're going to use the same axis point or the same origin point, and everything will be done, all the math will be done from the same part on the bottom, which should give us a perfectly carved 3D part. So for our stock setup, I chose relative, and then I'm adding no offsets. So basically this is going to pick the exact size we want with all the models we want. Press OK. We'll name this one pawn top. Okay. So for this, we'll start off with a adaptive clearing. My 1/4 inch is already selected. I'm going to select my geometries using the silhouette. I'm going to select my own geometries, and I'm just going to click this bounding box. Now, when you are cutting your part, it's important to know when you're going to be cutting through all the way so it doesn't start flopping around. So if we cut all the way through with this, let's just press OK and see what happens. We cut all the way through. Once we try to do the other side, it's going to have almost no support. So it's important to know how much we actually want to cut through. And for this one, we only want to go halfway since this part is, well, it's in the middle. So to do that, it's already doing it from the stock bottom. But basically, I can just add one since we know our thickness is 2 inches. I'm not going to go too much into detail about the actual programming of 3D. I really just want to go over the logic of the 2-sided cuts. So for now, I'm just going to press OK and be happy with this. So for a symmetrical 3D cut like this, I cut only halfway through. So for this one, I actually cut this side out first. And I do that way when I flip it, it'll be fully supported. And then for the other side, I'm actually cutting all the way through, starting with the first pocket, which is just to get the thickness I need, then a cutout, and finally, the pocket for the I built this wording. So back to our pawn. We have our adaptive pocket. Now, we're going to make sure that we cut out our registration holes. So do a 2D pocket. All right, so I'm going to make this minus 0.75, so it goes 0.75 deep. The passes, I'm going to uncheck stock to leave. It was checked. I'm going to uncheck it, and I'm just going to press OK. Great. So now we have that toolpath, and we have our registration holes. Now I can do a scalp 3D pass. Choose my bit, Now, when you're doing a part like this that you made yourself for Connected, you're going to change the machining bounding point to selection, and then you're going to say silhouette. Uncheck this, and this is really for 3D cuts. If you're just doing other 2D cuts, really you're just doing the same operations you need. Press OK. I'm going to change my height for this one to 1, 1, okay, second, and you'll see it's kind of junky looking, and I can fix that. We're going to right click. In the geometry tab, I'm going to add offset to 0.1. That'll make it look a lot nicer. And there you go. One side of a pawn completely cut out beautifully. Now the other side is actually way easier. This is a little trick. You can right click, say duplicate. While we're here, I'm going to name this bottom. I'm going to flip it over, and our z-axis is pointing, but we want the origin on the bottom. And that's important because everything was in the first carve was referenced from this face. So all the math was from that face. So when we flip it over, we want the math to be done from the same face. That way, when we say go down 1 inch, it knows it's actually 1 inch from here, and the mating line is basically at the same exact point. But we don't want that z-axis pointing downward like that. We want the z-axis vertically. So I'm going to edit. I'm going to just flip the x-axis, because the x-axis is now in the wrong direction, and that corrects the z. I press OK. I'm going to right click and say generate. All right, and then we can take a look, and it looks great. Now, you can't look at both sides like this. If you have a really fast computer, you can simulate it on both sides, but I tried it and my computer's just way too slow. Now, the last step, we have our pawn top, our pawn bottom. Now we can do pawn spoil board. I'm going to duplicate the pawn top one more time. Duplicate. I'm going to rename it spoil board, and I'm going to get rid of this and this. I'm going to edit the pocket so it only goes down 1/2 inch. That gives us a dowel of a 1 1/4 inch. But basically, I'm using this top surface for the spoil board. Now you're going to do this on the actual spoil board. And when you do that, your 0 for the spoil board will be the same as the 0 for your bottom, because you're basing it off of this. All right, I think that's it. So the first step was to find the center of the boards, and then I'm marking it down so I know where some blue tape will go. I'll lay down my blue tape on the spoil board as well as my stock, making sure it's nice and flat. I'll add my CA glue to the stock blue tape. And add some accelerator onto the blue tape with the spoil board. Push it down, and this will be strong enough to get started. I'll jog my spindle over to pretty close to where I want it, do some fine adjustments, and then I'll use the paper method until the bit's dragging pretty good on the paper. Zero everything out and let it rip. This is the first cut, which is a roughing pass. And now it's going to do the pockets. And that's the final image of the roughing pass. We'll start doing the finishing pass. I zeroed it to the top of the stock with the same paper method. And we'll let it go through its steps until we come out with one side that's completely done. So now we have 1/2 of a chest piece that's fully finished, and it's actually looking pretty good already. I'm going to just use a painter's tool to pop it off. And then I'm going to zero to the spoil board, and I want to make sure that I don't change my X and my Y, only my Z. We'll cut our 4 holes into the spoil board. And for this project, I'm using a 1/4 inch upcut bit, and I'll make sure I leave a link in the description of the video. Now that they're cut out, we'll vacuum them up and put in our dowels. We'll get a stock and we'll put it on top. And like I said in the previous parts of this video, that I offset the holes so that I can only put this on one way. If I tried to flip it the other way, it just wouldn't work. Nice tight fit. Pound it down a little bit. And we'll drag the bit into its cutting position so we can start the roughing cut. Now, since we zeroed it onto the spoil board, we don't have to re-zero it. We'll switch bits. We're going to zero it on the spoil board again. And we'll start our finishing pass. And now we have a basically finished pawn. And I'm really happy with this. It came out just about perfect as far as the zeroing goes. I'm just going to use the multi-tool to cut it out. And now it just needs a little bit of finishing and sanding, and I have one chess piece completely done. If you found this video helpful, make sure you follow, and also leave any questions if you have them. I'd be happy to help out. I'll see you for the next video.